why is ideology important, or what is an ideology, we say that it is a culture, it is a system, it's the way you think, but we know it's a system. And it's important because these same systems control how you think, control how you act. At the beginning, there was communalism. Of course, communalism, community being communal. There was just thinking on the level of hunters, gatherers, and fishermen. People who hunt and brought the meat back to the village or whatever. The gatherers, people who basically farmers, gatherers or farmers, people who did that type of thing, and then of course people who fished. Different cultures, some of them mixed, but just saying communally, because basically when we're speaking on these systems, we're speaking on a fundamental question that has to be answered, which is who owns and controls the means of production. The fundamental question is who owns and controls the means of production, and that question can only be answered one of two ways. Either all will own and control the means of production, or either some will own and control the means of production. It's just that simple. Some are going to control and own it, or all are going to control and own it. And that's what we get through history, where we know we began as a communal people. People were sharing things. All own and control the means of production. The next phase we begin to see is feudalism developing, and that's where you see some levels of private ownership, only minor, especially when we're speaking on different cultures, because this is a basic outline that probably expands the globe, but different people had it different ways. Like, in Africa we may have had a communal economic system or communal socio-economic system, but at the same time had what we can consider a feudal political system, in the sense that, and I'll say feudal in the sense when I'm speaking on Africa, I'm not speaking on in a negative way, because feudalism has a negative connotation to it. I mean, it has the word feud in it. But just saying, we had chiefs, but then chiefs also, of course, had a council of elders, and the chief was not just, chief was more of a top servant of the people, more so than some kind of hierarchical over everybody, as in the sense of how some other people's the aristocracy has developed. So just saying, we went, it's different ways to see how the development took place. But we had communalism, then we have feudalism, where some began to own and control the means of production. This is all throughout the globe. The next phase after feudalism is mercantilism. Okay, we begin to see more private proprietorships. We begin to see more small businesses, or people with their carts. We begin to see the table, the market square, and these type of things began to develop as mercantilism took place. From mercantilism, we go to a more fully and developed capitalism. We know that there were, of course, a couple of world wars that brought about this, something they can try to consider the Industrial Revolution, but these are the things that brought about a more full-blown capitalism, capitalism where you had larger corporations and a real greedy private ownership. So again, answering the fundamental questions, we're going through communalism, feudalism, mercantilism, and then of course capitalism. Who's owning and controlling the means of production, some or all? Now, of course, we are in the stage of capitalism right now. We have to ask ourselves, speaking from an ideological perspective, our ideological training, of course, we're speaking on revolutions, 360 spherical. So where do we go next? Of course, we like to say we're going to a socialism. When we speak on socialism, we're speaking on Africa, we're speaking on Pan-Africanism, the unification of Africa under scientific socialism. I say scientific socialism, I'm saying that because there's a socialism that has come out and people think it's owned by a certain race of people. But of course, socialism, when we say scientific socialism, we're just speaking on applying the communal ideas or the socialistic ideas to our condition, to our unique condition as it relates to Africa and its development. I could go into things about, you begin to see how Cuba, once they took the country and made it socialist, you can still begin to see how, you begin to socialize certain things at a time. One of the things that the Western world, the majority of the industrialized Western world has socialized is their medicine. You see Canada, you see Spain, France, these other countries who have a socialized form of healthcare. Because obviously, basic necessities, food, clothes, shelter, medical care, and education. Some form of, education is also socialized up till high school in the majority of nations also. But our next phase, socialism, or as and communism. And communism, of course, is a worldwide socialism, so we don't necessarily call out. We are, of course, building to become communists, or the ultimate forms of communalism, community. But we, of course, have to apply the socialistic principles to our conditions. I mean, to a certain extent, right in your own community, you can see and also begin to apply socialism. But of course, as we get the ideological training on scientific socialism, then we can begin to scientify, or begin to apply it to our condition, even if it's only in your personal life, which some people do.